Welcome back to another CBB Talk. It is Wednesday, January 18th. I'm Will Dickinson. You know what? I promised College Today would be back. Big game tonight for Virginia. I'm rocking them. Gotta get this dub against Virginia Tech. But we gotta lead off, after Monday and Tuesday. We got a lot of good games, but the biggest story of the 2 days of the week so far was Kansas State taking on my number one team in the nation, number two in the AP poll, and they at home, Kansas State survives with an 83-82 victory in a real good game. It went down to overtime. It was back and forth. Jalen Wilson has 38 points. Really just a stellar game from him. But Keontae Johnson had himself a day. And so did David Sills. Both these both of these teams, they're really good. I both got them in the top 10 of our rankings. And it was just, Keontae got off to a really good start early. Then in the second half, he battled some foul trouble in that first half. In the second half, he wasn't really getting anything going, a little cold. And Kansas put a comeback on. It was Jalen Wilson pretty much doing everything. KJ Adams had a really good game. But the final play was Marquise Noel, who struggles from the field tonight, only 4 points. There was a nice alley-oop to Keontae Johnson, slams it home. Kansas State upsets Kansas, their home state rival, and they get the job done. Jerome Tang in his first year, it's really impressive what he's been able to do. Get this team to who was projected to be last in the Big 12 to now tie for first, going to be a top 10 team again. The Kansas State Wildcats are here. They took a tough L to TCU. You don't want to lose two in a row, and they pull off a big upset against Kansas State or against Kansas. I dropped Kansas number 4 in my rankings, and I'm not too worried about them. Again, KJ Adams and Kevin McCullough both foul out in this one. Two of their best defenders. So if he doesn't go to overtime, maybe they win. Grady Dick really struggled from 1 for 8 from 3. Bill Self calls a timeout right before Jalen Wilson pulls the 3 and makes it. So a couple things go Kansas' way. They might win this one. You saw that Kansas might lack a little depth, which hurts. They really only run a 6-7 man rotation, so that's going to be a challenge for Kansas. But they're still really good. Jalen Wilson might be one of the best players. If it wasn't for Zach Edey, he might be player of the year. And they're still my favorite in the Big 12 for sure. But I moved Kansas State number 9. And I had to, they're right now third in my Big 12. If I had to rank the teams in the Big 12, they're third. Houston's not the number 1 team. They took care of Tulane last Tuesday. We'll talk about Purdue, Michigan State. Alabama keeps getting the job done. But Kansas is still right there in the mix. And if they win the Big 12, they'll be a 1 seed. This is such a tough conference to win a road game. I saw a tweet for someone from Baylor said in the last 2 weeks or week, Big 12 teams are 2-13, 2-12 on the road. Both those ones are Baylor. I think that's why they tweeted. But it's really hard to win a game on the road in the Big 12. And it was a tough one for Kansas, but doesn't make me too worried about Kansas. Great gameplay from Kansas State. Jerome Tang is the national coach of the year. Turned this team from projected last in the Big 12 to right now being tied for first. I mean, it's just amazing to see what he's done in his first year there. Another big result from Tuesday was Iowa State keep getting the job done. I've been an Iowa State big fan this whole year. I was high on them before this game. I have number 8, and guess what? This win doesn't move them because I can't. I put Kansas State right below them at 9. You have Xavier, who is just playing so good. Gonzaga is still always great, and UCLA, the best team in the Big Pac-12. But Iowa State's so good. You got guys like Kalsher, Holmes, Caleb Grill can stroke that thing. This team has swag, and TJ Oslenberger in his now second year has done what he did last year, who was make a team that didn't have high projections into a tournament team, and they're better this year. Last year they got to a hot start. I think they finished at an 11 seed, I believe. This year they're going to be better. They could be a top 3 seed in this tournament. They haven't done that since Fred Hoiberg and they are a really good team. Texas, they're a team where I have mixed emotions about them. Still 15-3 in the year, still good. And of course, they struggled with not having Chris Beard here. That's just tough for any player. Dylan Mitchell struggles. Only 16 minutes played from him, and really only 4 players in double digits. But no one had a big game. Marcus Carr and didn't get a lot of shots off, and then Tyrese Hunter didn't have a great game. Texas still a really good team. It's again hard to win road games in the Big 12, but shout out to Iowa State getting the job done. I dropped Texas 4 spots down to 13 in my power rankings. I moved TCU just up 1 because I looked at their resume compared to Marquette, and TCU's is better, and they've got that win over Kansas State, which looks really good right now. So I moved TCU up to 11. So I have 5 teams from the Big 12 in my top 13. That just speaks to the depth of this conference. And then I have one more. So 6 total teams with Baylor in there too, playing really good basketball lately. Is Baylor getting a road win against Texas Tech? Shout out to Baylor, playing really good basketball right now. Texas Tech, this is just their worst year in a while. But Keontae George if it wasn't for Brandon Miller, it would be national freshman year. But that boy Brandon Miller's cold. 30 again last night. Best player. He is arguably the best player in college basketball. He's the best NBA talent in college basketball right now. Alabama, gets a double-digit win against Vanderbilt, who just beat Arkansas. So Alabama keeps moving on, playing really well. Another story, but this one's in the ACC, is Clemson, who I had high 16th in my power rank. Oh, not power rankings, my top 25 rankings. They slip one to Wake on the road. Wake Forest again has got wins on the road this year. If we just go look at this Wake Forest team, they're making an interesting case to be a tournament team. They're 6-2 in ACC play with only losses at North Carolina and at Clemson. So Clemson this time, they already played both their games. Clemson beats by 20 early in the season, loses this one by 10. But again, they've lost at Rutgers, and at LMU is tough. But Wake Forest again has a good resume. If they can keep getting home wins like this in the ACC, they could definitely build themselves a tournament resume. They're still a good team. Tyler Appleby 24 tonight. And Clemson, this is a big year. Brian Burrell on the hot seat. I moved them down 9 spots at 25. They're still in there. Them and Rutgers. We'll see if Rutgers can get that win against Michigan State later this week. Them and Miami are close. The ACC is going to be really tough. And you got, teams like North Carolina, NC State, Duke, of course, Virginia, who are going to be for the top of that ACC. But yeah, Clemson's still having a really good year. I had to drop them, had to readjust after, getting their first ACC loss of the year. Still number 1 in the ACC. And they got easier schedule coming up where they could definitely, take advantage of, the upcoming schedule. Carolina gets another win. Armando Bacot was beast today. Beast in that game. Really, I don't even, he might have not missed a shot. It was all around great performance. Wisconsin gets Tyler Wall back and they pick up another win. Again, I was saying that when Wisconsin was struggling, yes, I wasn't a big fan of them. Thought they were overrated. But of course, when you're missing your best player, you're going to struggle. They get a win at home against Penn State. That's a big win. Penn State trying to keep that resume afloat. Wisconsin gets a much needed win after losing 2 or 3 in a row. And Oscar Tshiebwe has a great game, 37 points and 24 rebounds. I'm just going to leave it there. 37 points. They dropped 51 in the second half to beat Baylor by 14, even though they were down 8 at half. Shout out to Oscar Tshiebwe. Gets a much-needed home win for Kentucky. And just Kentucky keep getting wins. On Monday, we had a lot of day basketball because of Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And we had a great one in the Big Ten between Purdue and Michigan State. Zach Edey is just that man. I'm watching this game, right? And I didn't realize he shot 26 times, but every time I just feel like he's overpowered. Watching this game, I was like, dude, Zach Edey is overpowered. Just get him the ball, get in that left hand, and boom. He just if he catches it in the paint, he's scoring. It's just you gotta force him out of the paint. You gotta let him have a hard catch, and he had 0 fouls this game. The refs, I don't think the refs know how to officiate him, and that can be an advantage for Purdue. I think he's only had 17 fouls this year or something like that. He's averaging or 27 fouls. He's averaging less than 2 of game, which is insane. And maybe he is just a good defender, doesn't need to jump, make a lot of choices, but also he's so big, it's hard for the refs to, Big Ten refs to give him fair calls when it's hard to see if it's a foul. Michigan State plays a good game. I still got him in my honorable mentions. Tyrese Walker, but that's not his name. Oh, but I know his name, but Tyson Walker. Jeez, I knew his name. God, he had a huge game. 30 points, and in that second half, it was just all him. Like everything he was doing out there, everything Michigan State was getting on offense, it was from him. Michigan State plays a good second half to get back in this game, but it wasn't enough. They thought they had a game. They get to Edey down low. Edey gets it. Purdue, again, they're heavy reliant on Zach Edey, but that's a good player to be heavily reliant on. I mean, 36 minutes in this guy. His conditioning is just insane. He was a guy last year and the year before who you couldn't give a lot of minutes. He was getting, 25 minutes a game. He also had to play with Travion Williams, but his conditioning wasn't that there. Now he only sits 4 minutes in this one, plays the most minutes on the whole team. 32 and 17 for him. And Fletcher Loyer had some big shots down the stretch. 17 points for him. Again, no Malik Hall for Michigan State, which is going to hurt. And when you're missing Malik Hall, was one of your best players. Of course, it's going to be tough to win. But shout out to Michigan State keeping it close, but Purdue hangs on the win. Now you're up to number 2 after that loss from Kansas. Charleston staying at 19-1. They might be the first team to 20 wins this season. Illinois keeps winning. They're in my top 25 for a reason. Miami gets a close one against Syracuse after being down at half. Comes back, gets the win. Omir has a good game. FAU 17-1, keeps winning. And on Monday, that's really it. I saw that Middle Tennessee did have a game winner against UAB. UAB is kind of slipping up after being a tournament team last year. So that's all, not the news, but those are all the games from the earlier this week. I'm going to take a quick break, and we shall preview Thursday, Friday, give some predictions, and see what we got. All right, so Wednesday we got a pretty good slate of games here. We got UConn, who doesn't have the head coach, Dan Hurley, because of COVID. They're running 2 assistants, and I think they're missing their main assistant too. So they're running 2 assistants at head coach against Seton Hall on the road. Watch out for UConn slipping another one. I got them down to 19 or 18. Just saying, watch out for UConn. They could definitely slip up here and get a much needed victory. Auburn on the road at LSU. LSU's really been bad recently. Auburn, they're really good home. They could get one on the road. That's a needed victory. We have Florida and A&M. 2 teams have been playing way better of recent. A&M, you're on my radar. Get this win. I think you'll be on more people's radar for sure. Ohio State goes at Nebraska. Ohio State has slipped up a lot recently. So watch out for Nebraska. Ohio State trying to get back on track. TCU on the road at West Virginia. West Virginia is 2.5-point favorites. They haven't won a game in the Big 12. TCU get this win. You're going to Lawrence on a win. You don't want to lose a game that technically you're not fair, but you don't want to lose a game that you should win and then go and play a game that you should lose. That's how you get 2-game losing streaks. Shout out to Gary Parrish for that one. Anyways, TCU try to get this win, going to this Kansas game on the road. And if you can get, you're probably not going to win this game on the road at Kansas, but if you need this one, you don't want to lose 2 in a row. You're going to slip in the rankings a lot there and on seed lines. You want to win this game at West Virginia. West Virginia's trying to get their first Big 12 win of the year. Virginia at home against Tech. Tech started off the year really well. They've struggled recently. Virginia against their rival. They need this home win. Had a 2-0 week last week. They keep moving up. They somehow got to 10 in the rankings. Even as a Virginia fan, I will admit that is overrated in my opinion. I think like 10 for Virginia is just crazy. But hey, they're 6-point favorites. Hopefully they don't get upset at home against Tech. Xavier is at the poll. This should be a win for Xavier. Arkansas trying not to fall to 1-5 in the SEC. They lost 4 of their last 5. Haven't won a road game this whole year. Missouri's flipped up the last 2. Missouri trying to get back on track. Arkansas will get back on track. Lose at this game, their tournament chances are looking grim. Not grim, but they're definitely depleting. The best game of the day, though, is Providence at Marquette. I'm higher on both these teams in the AP. I have Marquette at 12. They have them at 20. And I have Providence at 17. They have them at 22. I just give the Big East love. And it's at 9 o'clock in Marquette. Marquette's 7-point favorite. 7-point favorites. That's a lot. They played a really good game against Xavier. Providence trying to get a big win after beating Marquette in double overtime earlier in the year. If they can get this win, Providence is now up there with Xavier to the top of the Big East, and we never know what could happen with UConn tonight. But that's a great game on CBS Sports Network. And yeah, that's about it. Oklahoma plays Oklahoma State. Oklahoma's playing better right now. Get this one on the road. Your tournament odds would go up for sure. Thursday, a good one at 6:30, the first tip-off of the day. Rutgers at Michigan State. Both these teams right now are just out of my top 25. Winner of this one could definitely sneak in depending on other results. Rutgers is already ranked in the AP vote. They're just short of mine. They have 5 losses. It's tough to give them that edge. I love that this Rutgers team, they're better than the ones from the year prior. And if they can get a win on the road, which, Rutgers, they're not amazing at getting wins on the road this year. But if they can get this one at Michigan State try not to go 0-2 on this week. Rutgers try and get a big win on the road. One of these teams is going to walk out of that game feeling way better about themselves than the other. I saw Monmouth is Monmouth in the ACC? I did not know. CAA. I think I just literally learned that earlier this week. I looked at the upcoming schedule for Charleston. I saw Monmouth. I was like, they're in the CAA. When did that happen? That had to be this year. Michigan at Maryland, 2 desperate teams looking for a win there, trying to keep their tournament chances afloat. Purdue is at the worst team in the Big Ten, Minnesota. That should be a win unless you're Ohio State. Sorry, but they lost to Minnesota, so kind of has to throw shade there. 8:30 on FS1. After that Michigan State game, you got another good Big Ten one in Indiana at Illinois. Illinois, I think they're a little underrated. They went through a little tough patch. They're back playing good. They're back to having a good offense. Terrence Shannon back to be playing at that level. Matthew Myers being better at recent. Indiana finally got a win against Wisconsin. Can they get back, get 2 in a row? Because if not, again, I've been saying this for a lot of teams, but it's starting to look bad for Indiana fans who had really high hopes going into this year. On Pac-12 Network, USC travels at Arizona. Watch out for that one. Arizona struggled in recent. USC's play good teams. They play them tough. Arizona could definitely be on alert there. And at 10:30, so following that game, FS1 has a good 3 slate games. You have UCLA going at the third best team in the Big 12, Arizona State. I looked for it. Arizona State took that tough L to Arizona. If they can get a win at home against UCLA, I think the best team by far in the Pac-12. That will open the eyes to Arizona State. That could get them a spot in this top 25 because I had them high earlier. They've taken some tough L's. They're kind of under the radar playing in the Pac-12 late games. A win against UCLA would shift a lot of people's minds about UCLA or about Arizona State. I'll look at Friday because now I don't know if I'm going to be Friday might not even have anything, to be fair. They don't. So Friday doesn't have anything. So I don't know when this episode is going to come out. It'll either be coming out Friday or Saturday, but Saturday morning after coach game at 9:30 a.m. So I don't know if I can do Saturday like I did last week. I did Saturday, and I think the week before because I had nothing early on Saturday, so I can just chill, make a video. But now when I have something in the morning, we're going to see what I have to do. But yeah, we got a good week, good couple of days of basketball. We're going to see a lot of good teams play tonight. Tonight's a big day for, teams like TCU, and Providence and Marquette, trying to keep their winning streak alive. We'll see UCLA later in the week. Tomorrow play Illinois, got a game. Yeah. We got a lot of good teams in college basketball, a lot of teams that have underperformed, and some good teams that have overperformed this year, like NC State, Charleston, FAU. I think UConn, I guess they've been better. Providence overachieving, Marquette overachieving, Iowa State and Kansas State overachieving, and Xavier overachieving, Alabama overachieving, Purdue overachieving. But we had some disappointing teams. We're getting to the heart of the basketball season. We're getting into the depth of conference play. This is where teams start to solidify tournament cases, and some may slip away. So yes, thanks for watching. I'll put that top 25 in the bio for anyone that wants to go take a look at it. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace out.